off the bike is so chill and so funny. Like the kid cracks me up. Like every time I look at him, I'm like, this little bastard's living the life right now, just having fun, riding dirt bikes, hanging with his friends, hanging with the family. Like pretty rad to see because he just always has a smile on his face. Like you rarely ever see Bereman bummed.
Tyler is multi-talented. He can race flat track. He can do supercross, motocross. He can do super hooligans. He can do modern. He's a well-rounded athlete.
Well, he's already on his path and he knows where he's going and he knows what he's capable of, and he's just a fantastic rider all around. And I've got my work cut for me trying to keep up with him.
Hard work pays off. I dedicated my whole last month, my whole life. I slept in my van every day, and yeah, I'm just so stoked to be here and be back.
Classy job by Tyler Bereman. Wins it, and he does it for the city of Las Vegas.
The kid has a bunch of talent, and I don't even think he's reached his peak yet. Like he's still going. Like it's endless for him. Like he's gonna do so much more than what everyone's seeing right now. It's crazy.
And I always used to tell Tyler, I said, Tyler, if this goes someplace for you, it's great. If not, you and I had a lot of fun, buddy.
My old stomping grounds right through here. It's the main street, downtown Templeton. As you can see, there ain't much going on here. Super cool, old feel, old town, old buildings, small town vibe. This is 805 right here. This is what 805 is all about. I'm from a small town on the Central Coast called Templeton in the good old 805. Growing up in Templeton, it was a simple life. We had 2 stoplights, 1 gas station, and nothing but good times, and I'm proud of that. Bereman racing started with my grandpa. Speed was always in his blood, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and that continued on through my dad and I. All of these, every one of these trophies, this is like years and years of racing locally and amateur races, and I mean, you get to some of these Ponca City up here. I mean, dude, there's trophies for years. We've honestly gotten rid of half of them, but it's pretty cool every time I come back here to kind of just soak it all in and look at this shit again. I used to always just give my grandpa shit, like, why do you keep this stuff? Like, it's in the way. I'm like, so glad he did.
Yeah, Grandpa's stash.
Oh, Grandpa's Playboy stash. My grandpa, Captain Ron, we dubbed him that nickname because he's captain of the ship. He's always barking orders, and what he says goes. There's no bullshit ever.
The need for speed. You know, when I was young, I used to do drag race cars and stuff, but motorcycles is something that pits you against the machine and against the trails or the racetrack or whatever it puts you. It's a one-on-one thing, and the thrill of it, you just can't compare to anything else. Motorcycles is part of my life. I love it.
My grandpa taught me a lot along the way. I think the main thing was just building relationships, having a strong work ethic, and just teaching me the value of $1. My dad grew up racing flat track. My whole childhood, I grew up going to the track with him, and he'd put me on his tank and ride me around the track.
Kind of my racing history is, started back in mid to late 60s, hit it pretty hard all the way through, mini bike, got up to mini bike expert, kind of progressed through that pretty quickly into the sportsman expert class, and used to race a lot. My father, he was a member of the Salinas Ramblers, which is a motorcycle club in Salinas that was founded in 1934. My dad became a member, I think, in the, probably early 60s. I think I was probably around 5 or 6 years old, I think, when we started going down to the club property.
The Salinas Ramblers Clubhouse is on 500 acres that backs up to one of my favorite riding spots as a kid, Clear Creek, with some of the best trails and terrain in all of California.
It has been huge for our whole family, for 3 generations.
My dad would take me up to the property and he'd just take me onto the hills and let me loose, and that's ultimately where my love for free riding began.
For me to go down and enjoy that, and now my son being able to come, grow up there, ride, it's been a blessing. Doesn't get any better than that.
So even to this day, me and my dad still get to go up to the Ramblers property and chase each other around. Growing up in Templeton, there was really no places for us to ride.
There was really no tracks to speak of.
And run over to the river where they call Pipeline, and there was a place out there we'd sneak into.
And that was behind Firestone Walker and the 805 Brewing Company. Ride the riverbed and create our own tracks and jumps, and that was our only place to speak for of riding our dirt bikes. We weren't really supposed to.
Places I'm going, I will know your ways. I can
Bereman out front right now. I know Tyler.
My racing career started with flat track because it's just what my family did.
And when he's about 4, we put him on a PW50 and we go flat track racing.
I raced flat track pretty much up until I was about 8 years old, and I got tired of spinning circles all the time, and all I wanted to do was go jump.
When he's about 8 years old, he said, "Grandpa, I don't want to race flat track anymore." And I said, "Well, what do you want to do, Tyler?" He says, "I want to race motocross."
And he basically came back to me and said, "Well, I don't know nothing about it."
And he said to me, he says, "Grandpa, we'll just learn together." I said, "Okay."
After we made that decision, he backed me 110%, and the rest was history.
Basically, Tyler's amateur career, you know, we went a lot.
So we go all over the country racing motocross.
We went through I think the 65 class and then into the 80 class. And he got to where he was doing pretty well. He was winning quite a bit.
How about it, folks? Big round of applause for this kid, Tyler Bereman. Overtook that step up there in the first lap and came all the way back to win.
Yeah, I kind of overshot and hit Jake's back wheel. But, oh well, I did good.
I'd say so. The crowd was screaming and yelling for you. Did you have fun here this weekend?
Yeah, the track was pretty good tonight, and yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing you at Anaheim Stadium in a couple of years at the AMA Supercross Series. Folks, give him a big round of applause. Your overall winner, Tyler Bereman.
As I got older and started racing more moto, we did go to a few big amateur nationals like Ponca City, Lake Whitney, World Mini, Mammoth, the KX65 Invitationals at the Arena Cross Series.
We got sucked into the whole Loretta Lynn's deal. I want to go try to qualify for Loretta Lynn's.
Loretta Lynn's is the Super Bowl for amateur motocross racing. It's the most sought after amateur motocross event by riders and industry alike.
It always seemed like we always missed it by like one, you know, for I don't know how many years. And never quite made it, you know, and just one thing or another, just, yeah, stiff competition and a lot of fast dudes. And
after years and years of trying, we finally qualified for Loretta's. The qualifying experience was quite hectic and nerve-wracking, but to be there and finally get there and get to the ranch and experience it with my dad was something that still to this day I can't put into words.
yeah, to go there, hop in the motorhome, drive across the United States with my son was pretty cool.
Once I finally got there and qualified, I went into it with low expectations, and come first moto, I hole shot it and won the first moto, and then I was like, damn, like, I think I got this. Ended up getting my next two motos out of the way, stayed clear of trouble, and won my first championship. And man, like, winning that championship was indescribable. Like, really jump-started my career and ultimately led me to believe in myself and knowing that I can do this.
He also gets a moto win, a gold medal, and now the championship bestowed to him. From Pasadena, Colorado, California, the 55 of Tyler Bereman, your champion. He is going after everybody. Dad, you get the back.
After winning Loretta's, it was time that I make a push for trying to find more support. The people that really gave me that support was Brian Casaro, Nate Hawley, and Jeff Taylor from DC Shoes. Those three guys really saw the potential in me before I ever even saw it in myself. There's one poster in particular that I still to this day can't believe that I was featured on. This poster has Jeremy McGrath, Ryan Villapoto, Travis Pastrana, Robbie Maddison, Jeffrey Hurlings, Nate Adams, Trey Kennard, and myself, this long-haired kid that still to this day, I don't even know if I belonged on that poster. Being on DC led me to be involved with Robbie Madison's massive production of aircraft. My role in Robbie's aircraft video was following him being his camera bike operator, following him around off all the jumps with the camera rigged to the front of my bike.
Tyler came out there and he rode the camera bike for me and helped me kind of just, a lot of the jumps were technical and difficult, and Tyler's obviously technical genius on the dirt bike, so it was great to kind of feed off each other there.
Being involved with that was a real eye-opening experience. It really taught me how to carry yourself on set and how massive productions work and come together.
Tyler, being Tyler, you know, started, like I said, let's go and ride the course together just to loosen up, and he hit the ramp for the first time, his first time on a 450.
Leading up to that point, I had never done anything like that before, and it was quite an experience to just see how Matto works in action and makes a dream become reality. Eventually, I became really good friends with Matto, and his house, the Madhouse, is a special place to me. It's like a second home for me and many others. The Madhouse is truly a madhouse 24/7. There's freestyle ramps in the front, skate ramp in the back.
Tyler's just kind of become part of the family. We just have a great relationship. It's just a good all-round deal for us. You know, we're us being out here from Australia, you know, no family around. It's cool to have friends that kind of connect with us at a deeper level, and Tyler definitely fulfills that part for us, so it's just great having him as part of our family.
The Madhouse is a great place for us to ride, train, and most importantly, for us to get inspired. After graduating high school, I slowly made my way down south and would sleep in my van, going from spot to spot. After traveling around in my van, all the local tracks, I finally met the Walters family, and they took me under their wing, gave me a place to stay and a roof over my head. They were a huge catalyst in my career and where I've gotten to. After the Walters family helped me get on my feet, I rented a house, and my longtime friend and mechanic, Robbie Brown, moved in with me, and basically he's been my mechanic full-time from that point forward, and started the supercross career. Up to this point in my career, I had been injured a lot. I was already on my third ACL. I basically only had 2 weeks to get on the bike before 2013 Anaheim 1, and rode 2 weeks of training at the local supercross tracks and threw myself in with the Wolves. 2 weeks on the bike, and my initial goal was just to make the night show. At the first round, I didn't make the night show and I was fired up. So come round 2, 3, and 4, I finally made my first main event. Your ultimate goal as a kid, you want to be on that main event under the lights with 80,000 people. So
I think the whole thing with Tyler going pro, you know, he pretty much did it on his own. He used to have fundraisers up at the property at Clear Creek for Tyler. We would sell raffle tickets for a barbecue and we would invite people up for the weekend. Barbecue, feed them. Tyler would get swag from his sponsors. We'd, you know, have raffles and stuff. And, you know, we just did creative stuff like that to go racing.
You know, it was just enough to get by. I wasn't living luxurious. I was literally just getting by from race to race. I'd say overall, my rookie year of Supercross was most definitely a struggle, but it definitely taught me the value of having confidence in yourself and working hard.
It's just, you know, injuries, just always kind of derailed things. Seemed like once you get momentum going, be injury.
After that rookie 13 season, ended up tearing my 4th ACL right after that, and ultimately just derailed my Supercross career. Still, to this day, I don't have an ACL.
Like take the booties out, soak them, throw them in the sun, and just do that a couple times a day. Yeah. When the sun beats on it, and then with the, I don't know if it's like the chlorine in the water or what it does, but it would always soften them up a little bit. Yeah.
If I was to describe Twitch in a couple words, it'd be the nicest asshole you've ever met.
Do me a favor? Move this piece of shit 2-stroke for me.
I call Twitch Grandpa because he was a hero of mine growing up. You know, I was a little grom and I was watching him compete in all these freestyle contests and just getting to know him and getting to ride with him and being able to go on trips with him is just, you know, he's always talking shit, so you gotta talk a little shit back. Started calling him Grandpa and...
Not bad for Grandpa.
Now everyone calls him Grandpa, you know, but he is almost 40, so... And he's still out there doing flips. On this first trip, I was fresh off my Loretta's title on my Loretta's bike, and this was my opportunity to prove myself. I was riding a 250F and nailed a couple technical jumps and earned the respect of Twitch and all the boys.
It was probably like 19 or 20. First jump we show up to, big ass step up on pole line, he cases the shit out of it. Like full backside, like not even close, and I'm like, oh my God, this fucking kid's gonna kill himself today.
From that point forward, me and Twitch have been glued at the hip ever since.
Bereman, can you just hold this light up? I got the light. Push it up.
The process of riding in the hills is all about creation. You envision it, you build it with your homies, you session it, and it's all in a day's work. This is where film projects and content creation really started for me. I found my niche in the hills and it came natural to me, and Twitch ultimately led the way for all of us.
As soon as Bereman started hanging out with us and riding the hills, I would always be like, you're a free rider. Because he was like trying to race supercross and like outdoors and then still wanted to come ride ramps, but I'm like, you're a free rider. And look at him now. He's like one of the top free riders in the world. And that's what's cool, coming from a moto background and actually knowing how to like have bike skills and race supercross and know your motorcycle, and then you do that in the hills, it's endless. Like once you have skills riding a dirt bike, you go to the hills, it's easy. It's just fun.
Freeriding for me really started at Clear Creek, but ultimately blossomed in the hills of Southern California. We wait all summer for the rain, just like surfers will wait all year chasing that swell, or snowboarders will wait all year chasing the powder.
And I feel like with moto, it's something cool too. Like every time we go out there to go build something new, film it, kill it, put a gravestone on it and move on, like go to the next one.
We've spent many, many man hours of building jumps and shoveling and digging and prep and waiting for the elements to be right to go enjoy the session with our homies. The story of free riding pretty much started with my heroes, guys like Jeff Emig and Jeremy McGrath, when they would go and ride in the hills on their downtime and enjoy it, you know, and that's ultimately where FMX began and started. At that point, it kind of drifted between one or the other. It was only racing or freestyle, and I think free riding kind of was forgotten about a bit and kind of in the shadows.
I looked at it like when social media came out, I'm like, here's my outlet. Like, I was always into like backcountry snowboard, street skaters, BMXs that are just in the hills, like in the trails, building stuff in the trees. And I always looked at moto, I'm like, why has no one like tried to go do like that in moto? Like, I want to do video parts. Like, I see some of the baddest dudes in the world, they don't even ride a contest. They're either a street skater or a BMX dude or a backcountry snowboard guy. And that's just what they've done since day one. In moto, everyone's always just stuck to the one thing, like, oh, my sponsor wants me to do this, my sponsor wants me to do that. And I just got over all the bullshit. I'm like, I'm gonna go make video parts. And I literally I called all my sponsors one year. I go, hey, I'm done riding freestyle contests. I'm gonna hire my own filmer, I'm gonna invest in myself, and I'm gonna go make video parts. If you wanna be a part of it, cool. And if you don't, I get it. It's all good. You guys never done it. And every single sponsor I called, like, we're on board.
I was very fortunate at the time that Twitch was doing this and showing us the way that social media became a huge presence in our everyday life. As my skills were growing, social media was growing, and I found the potential to do this on my own. And to me, you're not gonna remember who won Supercross at Daytona 2 years ago, but if you're creating the content lives forever, and that's ultimately why we're doing what we do. We're creating something that's timeless.
The audience is in tune, like people want to see it, you know, there's like millions of people across the globe that are just rubbing their hands, can't wait to see the next thing drops. I think like the current state of the sport, you know, the way it's like moving into this free riding thing, I think it's perfect, and I think it's good timing because there was a time there where they wanted to get everyone out of the hills and put them in arenas because I think that commercially made sense from a promoter's perspective.
Ultimately, it's just going to take people like myself to keep pushing it in the right direction and showing these kids coming up that it's not all about race results and wins and all of that. It's about creating content as well and enjoying what you're doing.
I think it just opens the doorways for the creativity to shine again. I'd like to think that, you know, the sport's not dead. It's a transition period, but it's going to take guys like Tyler and the guys at the top of the sport now to kind of, you know, put a fresh spin on it.
If you look at Tyler or Axel right now, they don't have to go ride a contest if they don't want to. They make content, badass content, all day long.
Down the line, I think kids and parents and everyone involved, this is a huge piece of what we're doing and why we're doing it is because we want to push this sport in the direction of other action sports and being able to make a living.
Everyone always thinks it's like, oh, you guys get to live the best life. It's like, no, we still work our asses off too. Like, I have a family to feed, he has bills, you know what I mean? So we work our butts off.
There's so many things that go into it between traveling, logistics, bike setup, production. It's not like we just go out there and take an iPhone clip and it's one and done. We risk our lives for this content that we're putting out, and you know, it might seem all fun and games, but at the end of the day, we're taking this seriously, and this is my job, and it's something that you have to take seriously and respect it because it'll reach up and grab you that quick. When it comes down to the risk versus reward, yeah, we risk our lives, but the reward is exponential. Like, you can't put these feelings into words, and that's why I do what I do, for those feelings. It makes me feel alive.
First time I met Tyler, I believe it was Mammoth Motocross. And it was funny, week and a half that we were up there, Tyler was in our pit the whole time, shooting the shit, and just became part of the crew.
When I first met Kenny and the Fast House crew, I came over and, you know, pretty friendly, inviting pit. Went and stole a couple beers at first. Ended up getting invited back in and they were offering me beers after that, so it was a perfect fit.
I got a call from Pat Lopez saying that, you know, Tyler's looking for some support, some help, and man, we were just a fast house. We could barely afford to do anything. I love Tyler's style. I love what he represents. And it took me about 2 seconds to go, absolutely.
They just had this really super cool vibe about them, you know, they're like family, you know, they're just like my family growing up, you know, my dad and me and Tyler, it's just families of people that love motorcycles.
Shortly after getting on Fast House, I came to Kenny with a project that me and a good friend of mine, Darren Durham, wanted to do, and we called it East Coast is Toast. And we wanted to go back and race Supercross again and do it an alternative way. You know, we wanted to film the whole series and create content.
We were like going, man, this is a lot for a young company to, you know, wrap their arms around and go for it. And it was probably the smartest decision that we've ever made here at Fast House.
It was inspired by Supercross in the old days and life on the road, and ultimately just wanting to race the way we wanted to, just fast, fun, and loose. It was a huge leap of faith for him, putting money in a couple squirrely dudes' pocket to go travel the United States. There was a lot of stories that came along with that trip, a lot that I probably shouldn't tell, and I'll save for a later time, but I might write a tell-all memoir sometime and guarantee you it'll be a good read. I don't think it was a success when it comes to race results, but I think it was a huge success for us as a whole in creating content and as well as pushing Fast House in the right direction. Kenny helped me get my SAG card and got me onto multiple stunt jobs such as Animal Kingdom, the TV show, Lethal Weapon, the TV show, and I did 8 weeks on a movie called Axel. So ultimately getting my SAG card and getting my foot in another door was awesome to me because, as we all know, dirt bikes and racing and free riding, this isn't gonna last forever, so it's nice to have something to fall back on. And being so inspired by film, it's cool to be on set and see how big productions come together and ultimately take that and bring it back into my own filming and producing.
I love that kid, and I'll do anything for him because he's family. He's been a part of some very special moments in our lives.
Kenny has pretty much, you know, taken Tyler under his wing, kind of almost like another son, if you will.
Me and my dad weren't super close for a while because I was living in Southern California and he was in Central California.
Yeah, that was very tough. So it's hard as a dad to kind of like let go. Not so much that it's just you're having fun, you know, with your family and your kids, you know, and so all of a sudden you're going racing every weekend, and the next thing you know, boom, he's gone. Hell on Wheels puts on flat track races, a guy by the name of Meatball.
Hell on Wheels is a full loose program, run what you brung, old bikes, and good times.
Me and Tyler got to go out and spend some laps together.
Racing Pops is fun. Old man can turn left, but he can't jump, so I think I got him covered in the jumping department. It's pretty fun to go out there, and you know, I'm kind of a father-son rivalry, you know. I don't want old man to outdo me, and he sure as shit doesn't want his kid to outdo him. Damn fun to come back and, you know, battle it out on the track and then come back to the pits and shoot the shit afterwards and laugh about it.
And that really seemed to bring me and Tyler back closer together than ever.
My favorite event that I look forward to every year is for sure Red Bull Day in the Dirt.
Tyler, no doubt, likes to have a good time on and off the track. That's what we love about him.
Day in the Dirt is a party with a racing problem.
A Day in the Dirt is his kind of event, that you still got to go out there and haul ass and, you know, race, but at the same time, it's showtime. Instead of really worrying about going through a turn perfect, you got to go through a turn and roost your buddy that's behind you. That's what it's all about.
The Hell on Wheels races like reunited us and brought us back together because that's what Day in the Dirt is. It's a family environment that we're there to have a good time and race our dirt bikes. And ultimately these two events, like my dad started coming, my grandpa would come, and you know, it ultimately brought us together as a family. You know, I was kind of out of touch from them because I was busy chasing my dream.
When me and Tyler starting to get to ride together a little bit more, he had gotten a few opportunities, one being to race hooligans with Roland Sands on the Indian motorcycles. And then he called me up and he said, "Hey, Pops, you know, you want to come ride a hooligan race?" And I'm like, "Well, hell yeah." You know, so I got to go down and ride my first hooligan race and race with Tyler and ride a bike for Roland Sands. And, you know, it just kind of, I think everybody just kind of dug the father-son thing, you know. We were out there mixing it up and just, yeah, the vibes were high. And it's the same group of people, same type of people, like it's Fast House, the whole hooligan and Roland Sands. They're just people that just love bikes, you know, and so it's like a big party. The hooligan thing really became so popular that, you know, they made it a competition in the X Games. They had a qualifier down in Southern California that I won my heat race, beat Tyler, and so that was my direct ticket into the X Games. Me and Tyler both made it right out of it because we were in the same heat race, so we made it out of the same heat race, qualified for the X Games with my kid.
Randy, you guys are going to Minneapolis. Express to me what it was like growing up with this kid on weekends with all the events you guys had going on.
Oh, it was awesome. I wouldn't replace it for anything in the world. We had so much time together traveling all over the country and stuff. and just had a blast. I wouldn't change anything. And so for him to kind of get into flat track, which is my background, and to come out here and do this together, I'm really pumped.
Me and my dad started off racing flat track, and to be able to race with him at X Games is by far the biggest full circle moment of my career, and just can't write this script, man.
It's unbelievable. That was probably one of my highlights today.
I think this super hooligan thing has allowed them to kind of connect really good. They're both competitive and they've raced together. It's a lot of fun. You know, father, son, and old grandpa, maybe one of these days, if I can start breathing better, I'll strap on one and go with them.
Captain Ron, he's getting old, man. I hate to see it. You know, at the end of the day, he's provided an insane life for his whole family. I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for him. And, you know, it's getting old's a trap. So he's, unfortunately, time's not on his side, and he's struggling a little bit, but all I can do is make him proud. And pretty sure I've made him proud so far, but can't stop. At that point in my career, I'd done really well, made a lot of gains, and found my niche, but along came this phone call that I would have never guessed in a million years. I got approached by Red Bull. I wasn't really sure if I was a Red Bull athlete or if I could meet the expectations of being a Red Bull athlete.
What interested me was Tyler's presence, you know, mainly on the bike to start. Just his style and the way he rode is just really second to none. He makes such a powerful impact when he rides, but then you meet him off the bike and you realize that he's even more special off the bike as a human being, and that's where things really started.
I remember when Red Bull came to him and he was still riding for weed maps, and I was like, dude, like, you need to do this Red Bull deal. Like, it's gonna solidify you as an athlete.
At the time, I just didn't know of my potential. You know, I saw value in myself, but I'm not very good with getting told what to do, and I just kind of asked myself, like, am I a Red Bull athlete? And if I do this, is it gonna be too much pressure and too much expectations of me? Because, you know, I haven't always technically been good under pressure.
And my dude, I'm like, this is your golden ticket right here. I'm like, you do this deal, I'm like, it puts you in that next level of like, you are a fucking athlete now, you know what I mean? And I go, you're gonna have a lot of pressure on your back, because I go, you're gonna do better, Red Bull wants you to do good, and you're gonna go to events and people are gonna be like, why aren't you winning?
This one was funny because he didn't come to me, he went to one of his buddies' wives and asked them, and she told him, dude, it's kind of like a no-brainer, you know? When you're old, you want to see like this up there, or you want to see your Red Bull helmet.
I kind of banked these ideas off of my closest friends of Twitch and his wife Susie, and they basically just, Susan grabbed me by the head and shook me and just said, Tyler, you're a fucking idiot if you don't take this Red Bull deal. Called him back and said, yep, I'm in, and it's by far the best decision I ever made.
And I remember the Red Bull guys calling her after, like, hey, thank you for talking sense into this kid. Literally right away went out and started winning. He loves the pressure, you know what I mean? Like, you see him getting a little nervous, like I'll watch him at events and I'll see him going through his routine, and you know when he goes, you're like, okay, here goes a big one. Like, he's sending it right now, and every time, like, the kid just has mad skills, and he shows every time. He's always out there. I don't think he's been to an X Games yet and not got a medal, so it says a lot right there.
Throughout my career, I've had a lot of injuries, but the most notable one was September 2018 in Australia. Went down there for Day in the Dirt. Unfortunately, just had a bonehead move, ran out of gas on a 100-foot triple, had to jump off. Ultimately destroyed my feet, completely shattered my heel, my navicular, my toes. I did everything, tore my ACL. It was a laundry list of injuries, and was taken to a really shitty hospital. Kind of got put through the ringer, and you know, at that point, I was like asking myself, is TB toast? Is this the end? Is my career over?
he fucked himself up big time. For a while there, man, I'm in the emergency room with him, and it was, I didn't want to let him know, but it was pretty gnarly. Career-ending injury.
I was extremely concerned. I mean, when you talk to him on the phone, when he was over there laying in the hospital and you hear the fear in his voice, it's really tough to hear like your athlete and your friends struggling like that.
They wouldn't let me fly home from Australia with the injured foot, so I had to get surgery there, came straight back, was in a cast for about 4 months, and after that 4-month mark, I basically did about 7 months of grueling physical therapy and rehab at the Red Bull High Performance Center.
The recovery process for TB was, nothing short of miraculous. It was extremely difficult for him, especially not being able to really do anything for the first 4 months, really just having to sit there in a cast and let something heal.
Dedicated my whole life to just feeling normal, being able to walk normal again, and just obviously with the ultimate goal to get back on my dirt bike. At the time, like, I was in so much pain and so far behind where I needed to be that I just didn't even know if I was even gonna be able to walk again.
It was a battle and a dark time for him. He wouldn't say it, publicly, but, because he's such a positive person, but it was a really difficult time for him, and maybe the most difficult of his life.
You're in a dark place and you're trying to overcome these bad thoughts in your head and just get back to feeling normal. It's quite the process, but having a solid foundation around me and the Red Bull team was amazing and kept me going and motivated and worked harder than ever. And that old saying goes, hard work pays off. After that injury, I wasn't able to get back on the bike until about a month before X Games. The ideal situation getting ready for X Games is you're riding these features, you're riding the quarter pipe, you're riding the ramp, you're doing these things all year long. In that time of that month getting back on, I qualified for the Super Hooligan race with my dad. I finished my first Red Bull project. I built my quarter pipe and basically put my heart and soul into training that whole month leading up to X Games. Night one at X Games was the quarter pipe comp, and the quarter pipe competition is by far the scariest competition that I'm in, and I think maybe one of the scariest at X Games, but it's a pacing contest. Who can go the highest on an 18-foot ramp?
Watching quarter pipe in person, no matter how many times you've watched an athlete do it, whether it's Tyler or another one, it's just scary. There's no way around it. It's like going off of a roller coaster when you're holding your breath and you lose your stomach. Every single jump makes you feel that way. Whether you know they're gonna do well or not, as soon as they get up into the air, you're still waiting for them to get back down safely. And it feels like an eternity.
You gotta have your mind and body locked in, and you gotta be fully committed or don't do it at all. The feeling of it is like no other. And if it makes any sense at all, a 250-pound bike feeling weightless at the top of your peak of your air, it just doesn't make sense. I'm the one on the bike and it doesn't make sense to me either. My main goal was just to be there and be present and be competing back under the lights. I went out there and actually was competing for a win. I came away with a second place, a silver medal. That just lit a fire under my ass. I worked that hard to get back there, and just to be there and compete and be under the lights was where I wanted to be, but to be able to walk away with a medal was like icing on the cake. That night, I walked away with confidence knowing that I was back and I was there to stay. The second night at X Games was best whip competition, and that was something that I feel a lot more comfortable in compared to quarter pipe. I went into the comp full of confidence from getting a medal the night before, and in the final it came down to 4 riders, 3 jumps each for the highest score. Going into my last jump, I was sitting 4th place, and I knew I only had 1 jump left and I had to leave it all out there. I put my heart and soul into that last jump and walked away with the gold medal.
Bereman is going to get the gold medal out here tonight. How about that?
Yes.
On the last one.
Stoked
With
for
that
him.
reaction, it sends it.
Tyler Bereman, you have taken gold here tonight. I've never seen you more dedicated. Express to us what's happening right now in your mind.
This feeling is it's undescribable. I've spent the last 11 months crawling out of the hole from this injury, and I live for this moment right here. That was so much fun. You guys, Minneapolis, you guys were awesome out there cheering me on, and can't thank you guys enough. I am so stoked. Hard work pays off, man.
You have had so much adversity coming into X Games this year, and you've prevailed.
Yeah, you know, it's been a long road, but you never give up. Team never give up, baby. You know, that's how it goes, and you got to want it, and I really wanted it last night, and it was a battle to the ages, and same with tonight. It was a battle, and you know, hard work pays off. I dedicated my whole last month, my whole life. I slept in my van every day, and yeah, I'm just so stoked to be here and be back. Yeah.
Congratulations, Tyler Bereman.
And I think that was probably me and Tyler's highlights, was him winning that gold medal. Just to be there and watch him win a gold medal at the X Games was a proud parent moment.
To see him come back from such a gnarly injury like that and get a gold medal at X Games and just totally dominate on that best whip. It's so cool to see. It couldn't happen to a better person. I'm so stoked for him.
He sent it. Fucking pulled it out and won that gold medal, man. It was badass.
As a family, we are super proud of him.
Hot nights coming, keep the car running. On the fingers, swallow my pollen. We fell. You were plush and dolly bear. You had me howling. Cold, I fell into your skin. On the night you let me under your sin. You had me howling. You had me howling. Ooh. Underexpose me. Come lay your weakness down on the floor in the backseat. Gold, I fell into your spell on the ride of God we fell. You were plush and dolly bear. You had me howling. Cold, I fell into your skin. On the night you let me under your sin. You had me howling. You had me howling. Ooh.
You say a couple words real quick.
Say what?
You just say like, hey, my name is.
Hey, what the fuck you guys doing?